Hello, this is a quick tips and tricks video for new student registration for Park County School District number 6. We have the new student registration open and going for the 2026-2027 academic school year, and we just wanted to give you some tips and tricks that will help you be successful in registering your new students. The first thing we need to talk about is, what is a new student? A new student in our district is a student who has never attended school in our district before, or a student who was previously attending our school district, but then they left and now they're coming back. New students are students who are not currently active in our systems. Current students are students who are currently active or who will finish the 25-26 school year with us in May 2026. For current students, the registration will be in July or August 2026, and we will send out more information on that when the time comes. Anyone else that is not currently enrolled would be considered a new student because your student is not currently active in our systems. The only exception is for retained kindergartners and kinderboost students who we need a new student registration for. The first tip we have for you is to make sure you do the correct registration. It can be really frustrating for families when we have to come back to you and say, "I'm sorry, you've done the wrong registration. Can you please do it again?" There are some changes we have to make in the registration from year to year, so we really need to do the correct registration for your student. In our current system, you will see when you log in that we have a new student registration open for the 25-26 school year. This registration is for students who still intend to enroll and start school in April or May 2026. We also have a new student registration for 26-27. This is our kindergarten registration for students starting school in August 2026, as well as any other grades of students that will start school in August 2026 or any time between August 2026 and May 2027. So to reemphasize, it is really important that you make the right decision on which registration you need to do for the student you are registering. Once that's decided, and say, for this example, I'm going to do a new student registration for 26-27, I would select that and click on it. I've already started a little registration for us. So once you click on that, it may ask you for the student's name and birth date, but then it will pull you into this page, which gives you some information. We invite you to read all of the instructions just to make sure that you do the registration correctly. It gives some more tips for you, and then the first question is going to ask, what is your child's enrollment status with Park County School District 6? There are 4 options. They're new, never enrolled in Park 6. They're a retained kindergartner or a current kinderboost student. They're not currently enrolled, or they are currently enrolled. So if I click on currently enrolled, you'll see that you'll get a warning that tells you you're doing the wrong registration, stop, don't continue. The other options will be the options for students that will continue the registration. So if in this case I have a brand new kindergarten student, you'll see when I click that, more questions and options show up. Once I answer the first question, I can click next to move on to the next page. One thing to note is this little required warning sign. Fields that are required will have this little required alert next to them. Fields that are not required will not have that alert next to them. For instance, in this example, a student's first name and last name are required, but middle name is not required. Not all students have a middle name. If they do have one on their birth certificate, we ask you to fill it out because it helps us better identify students. The next tip we have is to not click next until you scroll to the very bottom of your page. As you can see on this page, next is kind of hovering over fields, but there's a lot more fields on this page as I scroll down. So it's really important to scroll to the very bottom of the page before you click next. If I jump to the parent and guardian page, the next tip is here. We have up to 4 parent guardians that a parent can enter for their student. That, in general, gets most family situations. If you have more than 4 parents or guardians for a student, then you can talk to the school after the fact and we can add as many people as needed. But they should be parents or legal guardians. There's another section where we can add emergency contacts. But only 1 parent guardian is required. So you can see that all of these fields are required for the first parent guardian. But when I get to the second parent guardian, it's not required because we do have families with single parent homes. Another thing on the parent guardian page, When you get to the second parent guardian, you can see that it's not required, but as soon as I start to enter someone's name, then the fields become required. So it's a smart form and it knows, is there somebody's name here or not? So if you accidentally put something in somewhere and it makes other fields required, go back and just remove some of that information to see if the required symbol goes away. This also holds for phone numbers. When we get to phone numbers, so like on Parent Guardian 1, a phone number is required. The primary phone number for any contact is required, but you'll see that there's an additional phone number. This is a non-work phone number, and this is optional. Not everyone has multiple phone numbers today, and even work phone numbers are optional. As you can see, they're not required. Okay, the next tip has to do with parents and guardians versus emergency contacts. We ask for at least one person to be listed as an emergency contact for a student. This person should not be someone that is already listed as a parent or guardian. It needs to be somebody else that's an emergency contact, even if they end up living out of state. Somebody that we could call in a case of a true emergency, and we have called and called and called and tried to get a hold of parents and guardians, but we can't get a hold of anyone. Who should we call? And just one person is required. You can't put up to 3 because this is how we're going to know too. Can your neighbor or a friend or an aunt or uncle or grandparent pick up your student? You can put up to 3. Again, only 1 is required. Okay, the next tip, and I haven't filled out very much, so this page is going to get really, really red and have a lot of warnings on it for me, but the next tip is to go to the summary page. When you get all the way through the end, when you keep clicking next and you get to the summary page, this is here to help you navigate, and it will identify for you the pages that have errors on them. So you can see I have a few pages with green check marks, but these other pages with the red alerts, they're telling me something's wrong on this page that you need to fix. Hopefully yours won't have as many red warnings as mine does because you'll have filled stuff out. I've kind of left this example blank, but you can then click on this red warning and it will go and it will show you, hey, you forgot to fill some of this out. So then I could come in and I could go, okay, this is a kindergarten student. And then what school? Oh, they're assigned by the admin for an elementary school. There is a place on the next page for you to request a school for your elementary student. But you would just go through and you'd answer the questions as we go. But the summary page is really nice for navigating because it will tell you which pages you need to go back and fix something. And then you can go back to that page just by clicking on the red button. But then once you're on that page, so if I go here and I say this student has 0 siblings, say, in the school district. So then instead of clicking next to go all the way back to the summary, next, I can go and click summary. And then it will take me back there and I can see what page is the next page that I need to go to. The last tip for you. Once you submit, you cannot come back in and edit. So if you need to go look up somebody's phone number and are thinking that you'll submit and come back and fix it later, that won't work. Once you submit, you cannot come back and edit. This happens a lot with this document upload page because people don't have their birth certificate with them, but they wanted to do the registration and they think they'll come back in and upload the birth certificate later. It will not let you. You can log out, like do a save and sign out, and it will remember your information that you've entered so far, but it will not, once you submit, if I get to the end and I can submit, then it will not let me come back and upload this stuff. So if you don't have the technology that you need, if you don't have a scanner or if you can't take pictures of the documents to upload, then we can get these from you when your student starts school. Right before school starts, they're back to school night, for example. We can get those documents from you at that time. And then you'd keep going through the end, through the summary page. Once on this summary page, once everything is green, the submit button will turn blue and I'd be able to click on it. I can't click on it right now because I have too much red, but I would be able to submit. That concludes our video at this time. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to the school district. We are happy to help and we're excited to have your students start school with us in Park County School District number 6.